Hey, it's JC1424 once again with another album review, and today we're going to be talking about the 9th studio album from punk rock slash Mahalo motherfucker core, okay, melodic hardcore band Rise Against. Been my favorite band since like 2013 whenever I started high school, so it's been about 8 years. But I'd known them before that because of MX vs. ATV Unleashed, having Give It All, Madden NFL 07 had Drones, and then that was like the second parter to the song Prayer of the Refugee, and that song was in Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock as like a Bible track with the in-game credits. And then once I started listening to them a bunch, I got Madden NFL 12 on my PSP, and that had the song Architects, which starts off their album in-game from 2011. But that's enough about that backstory and everything. Let's talk about what we got here. This album was recorded in the Blast Room with their second change of record label in like the past 2 albums. They went to Virgin Records last time, and I think they have a new record label called Loma Vista or something like that. That might be right. I saw it on Wikipedia whenever I was looking up the details. But it sounds a lot better this way. Hopefully it still gets distributed well, because you change a record company and they don't sell as much, or maybe they put out too many of them and you don't make them out a profit. But I'm going to be seeing Rise Against live on August 10th in New Orleans. And I've been waiting for this moment for a really long time. This is one of those bands I don't want to see because they're my favorite. But now that you know all about that, let's talk about what we got here. Track 1 is The Numbers. And it starts the album with this French national anthem, which was banned multiple times for having a revolutionary purpose. And anytime you get a stupid leader, they're like, let's get rid of that national anthem. So I think it plays a big purpose in the overall theme of this album right off the bat. Be it Colombia or America, it's how many of us versus how much power we've allowed. And that is what this song is going on about. It opens with a gorgeous synchronized melody, then varying between punk cut time and then an end of tolerance battle cry for the chorus, with a fiery bridge and a revised chorus at the ending. Like always, Rise Against can fucking start now.
It's your trail to blaze, or your bridge to burn.
Track 2 is Sudden Urge, and this would actually be the first new song that we hear on release day, because 4 of the songs had already been released prior as, promotional shit and whatever. But this one actually adapts some of the Rage Against the Machine styles of guitar work. There's just so many different layers, and it's very noticeable. Then you've got Tim McElrath's vocal melodies that are strangely unfamiliar here, and it also might be in an uncommon key too. But there is an outlet of riot energy, and it's used as a form of art that we actually saw a lot of last year. But to be honest, that's better than just bloodshed, unjust. Although, in my honest opinion, I think it's kind of retarded when they go burning down apartments and family businesses. Because the least you could do, I can understand and see the art in someone burning down something that they want to stand against. Not people's homes and businesses that are the same people that are on your side, and But yeah, I can understand and I can feel the energy on that with this song. Track 3, Nowhere Generation, was the lead single, and it's also the title track of this album. It was preceded by a buttload of Ring-esque cryptic teasing. They had the stuff with the ladders and the box televisions. Maybe at some point Tim McElrath will crawl out of one and strangle me, for all I freaking know. It initially comes off as a soft radio anthem, but I'm sure we can all feel the live potential. If you see Rise Against live, like I will whenever I go to New Orleans in August, it'll be absolutely euphoric. I just really hope that I'm there early enough to actually be up front in that $45 pit. It's $45 tickets to just see Rise Against. So I didn't want to miss the opportunity because they're my favorite band and I've been waiting for this for a long time. It also literally has the same chord progression and energy as Photograph by Nickelback. I mean, you might like to hear that because Rise Against and Nickelback, wham, 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 but it's the fucking truth. And then one panders to the middle class, which would be this one, and then the other just panders to nostalgia. The only true difference here is that.
We are the nowhere generation. We are the kids that no one wants. We are a credible threat to the rules you set.
Track number 4 is Talking to Ourselves, and I think this was the final single to be released before the rest of the album, maybe like 3 or 4 days prior. But it's immediately reminiscent of their lighter materials such as Hairline Fracture, This Is Letting Go, maybe Tragedy Plus Time, and half the shit that was on Wolves, because that one had a lot of on and off variety. It comes from a passively aggressive place with this song, with the realization that peaceful protest often gets ignored. And by itself, it's a good song. the signature lead guitar, sweet hook, a crisp interlude, I don't think this is the best place on the album for it tone-wise or even thematically.
What would it take to pry open their eyes? I would wait in the water, I'll stand in the fire, I am not afraid.
Song number 5 is Broken Dreams Incorporated, or Broken Dreams Inc., as opposed to Monsters Inc. But initially this was released as a standalone single for a digital Batman comic thingy. I didn't think this was even going to be on the album though, but this is the final single. Everything else from here on out is new material. But this was an excellent showcase at the time for what they were going to be improving on with this album this year. Despite being a smorgasbord of recycled lyrics, riffs, melodies, execution of stanzas, it does put the concept of poor priorities of most societies into perspective. The 6th song on this album is Forfeit, and I wouldn't say the song is particularly better than People Live Here, but at this point in time, Tim's voice has an angelic, soothing chime to it that I haven't heard in years from him like that, and he brings so much confidence to this one. I'm curious if, like House on Fire, though, this might be about maintaining faith for his children. Either way, it has to have a place with all of us somewhere, of course. And I wanted to say this, and it took me a while to really come to the conclusion, but the acoustics and how everything resonates so well is similar to Writing on the Walls, a song by 10 Years from this album that I think they released independently.
I'll come running down these streets as fast as my feet will take me.
Song number 7 is Monarch, and it's mostly up-to-speed punk rock, but with these melodic backing vocals. That's really all that Rise Against Always is, though. I don't think anything about this is particularly amazing, but it really contributes to the album's flow, in my opinion. They do take advantage of their raw lead guitar and muddy bass in the bridge, making it both playful and emotional from my perspective. And this also feels like achieving self-esteem and finding your own freedom from mental entrapment.
Everything went black. I am not the person you remember from before, the one you patronized and stepped on.
The 8th track is Sounds Like, and it has a similar message to that of Miracle, which was the closing track to their previous album, but more so with a bitter side to people who just talk about helping rather than actually helping. But the verses come off a bit weak at speed, but it punches strongly into this blooming chorus, and it just sounds really satisfying. The guitar line is kind of cool, and there's a brilliant semi-breakdown that transforms into something a tad dancey halfway through this one, and the sudden ending kind of fits the song's context.
And this is what it sounds like. This is what it sounds like.
The 9th song on this album is Sooner or Later, and you've got to be kidding me. It's the exact same verse from track 5, Broken Dreams Incorporated. That is just plain embarrassing. It's so noticeable, instantly. But you get a beautiful ambience and oddly sweet chorus with harmonies, though. It's fairly mediocre until we get our one and only scream of the album, which is holy fuck. Both the scream and the fact that it's a Rise Against album, there's hardly any screaming on it until now. We get three songs left, what the hell? Personally, I believe this is about running out of God's resources in our time here, and just running out of time in general, too. The second to last song, track 10, is Middle of a Dream, and it begins with a filthy opening riff, then going through the verses is quite gritty underneath. The overall passion of this song as it ascends to the huge ending I find very enthralling. For me, it's like trying to let go of someone that you've lost while that struggle in itself begins to alter your entire perspective of life, where you don't want to know if you want to be asleep in your dreams and you wake up and it's a nightmare, so it's like there's no good anymore. So it's so frustrating to decide to let go or keep holding on to that, living what reality. Despite how deep we are into this album, I'm lured in with undivided attention by the glorious exhausts of pin-up aggression with the song. The 11th and final song on this album is Rules of Play, and it's a strong tune in the album, but the whole song in itself Not really, aside from the organ outro, I love that. It uses another style of lead guitar from earlier in the album. The verses are carried out in the same way as they have been in 3 other damn tracks. But it does advocate for a mutual respect between parties, regardless of political opposition, and that's a healthy note to close with. My final score for the new Rise Against album, Nowhere Generation, released on June 4th, 2021, is an 88%, which is a solid B. Not a B- or a B+, just a regular B. And it's interesting that I say that because I could say the same thing about Wolves, The Black Market, Endgame, all this stuff released in the past 10 years. But it's like, this album is better at one thing, but then it's starting to fall off even more in another. The whole album was recorded in the blasting room. The attention to detail has drastically increased. Tim McElrath's voice has been rejuvenated so much. It's like he got an extra year to fix that. Huh. I wonder why. Then Brandon's performance on drums was kicked up half a notch. Not a full notch, but half a notch. He ain't doing no Danny Carey, but it's just, the music is starting to more and more to mesh together, and like the verses are starting to have similar melodies, the chord progressions are starting to be the same damn thing every single album and every single song. I mean, we still have some unique verses here and there, but I can compare so much of things on different albums, and then whenever you listen to the whole album experience, it can get boring at some of the, I guess, 3/4 parts of the album. I mean, I was really tired whenever I first listened to this thing, but even then, if something crazy happened or something really different happened, they had my focus. But that's the most I gotta say about the new Rise Against album. Of course, I still love it. It's Rise Against. I gotta get it on CD. I've gotta get those other 2 albums I don't have by them on CD, The Unraveling and Revolutions Per Minute. And I am so excited to see them on August 10th in New Orleans. Apparently there's a guy that I was just commenting on Rise Against videos, and he said he's also going to that show. It's gonna be his birthday. I'm gonna have to bring him a hot melted cupcake or some shit, and maybe I'll find him and we'll high five. He wants to high five. Kenny something, I don't remember what his name was. Maybe I'll find that comment on like a community post. But thanks for watching this album review. See you next time. That's that. And album review over.
Because this life is a